what we have to envision here is like we're on a battlefield, okay? Everything that you just mentioned, Laith, is exactly the battle that we are up against. Propaganda, social media, ideas, influence. It's a battle, right? So there's two ways that you can enter into a battlefield. You can just like absolutely not know what you're doing. You can run into the middle and go, ah! And like you'll probably get killed, right? Or you could prepare yourself. You could wear some armor, learn how to, you know, use an arrow or a gun or some, you know, prepare yourself so that when you walk into this battlefield, you don't look like a total idiot, and you know, you actually can succeed maybe at winning in the battle, right? And so, Islamically speaking, in order for us to really be prepared for this battle, if I'm saying that the battle is between Islam and the outside, well, I better understand what Islam is so I can use that to combat the outside, right? So let's do a quick Islam 101, but with a spiritual depth, okay? There are three main principles that we think about in Islam, and you know, these are kind of like the anchors that we can think of in terms of our Islamic identity. The first one is iman, and then Islam, and then ihsan. And I'm going to go through these in a little bit of depth. So the concept of iman is simply our faith and understanding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's knowing who Allah is and understanding why He created us. And understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create us here without intention. And understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us intentionally. And there was some magnificent design behind the fact that each of us turned out the way that He did. There's this really nice quote that I like to reflect on. It's not necessarily an Islamic quote, but it basically goes that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth, He looked at you and decided the world needed one of you too, so He created you. I'll say that one more time. When Allah created the heavens and the earth, He looked at you and decided the world needed one of you too, so He created you. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw something in you that only you can give to this world. It's unique. Only you have it. Why? Because Allah does not do duplicates. If there was someone in this room that has the same skill set, talent, personality, whatever it may be, as you, then guess what? You would have been deleted from the equation. Allah doesn't do duplicates. So when you think of this fact, and then the other part of that quote that I really like is the concept that there was like a moment. I like to imagine this, that there was a moment where Allah spent time designing me. He spent time perfecting me. He spent time making me look, think, act a certain way, my characteristics, my talents, my features. That there was time spent just like me and Allah, one-on-one. The rest of the world is blurred out. And Allah picked me to be the way that I am in a way that He has wisdom in. And there was a purpose behind that, and it was so intentional, and it was so perfectly planned, right? So me understanding that, like, wow, like Allah spent time with me? Like He made me unique and special? There's something about me that none of everyone else has. There's something about you that no one else in the world has. That feeling alone gives a person a sense of self-worth. Like I mattered to Allah, so He created me. That means I'm enough already. From the moment I was born, because Allah decided to make me a human, I was already enough. I didn't need to prove anything to anybody. I didn't need to be put to a test. I didn't need to act a certain way, dress a certain way, say a certain thing. The fact that Allah brought me into existence because He deemed me worthy of existence, that's point one. Okay, now let me expand on that point. Let's add to that, again, spiritual depth. Well, there are a lot of people in this world that are humans. Allah creates humans. Not all of those humans are Muslim. Okay, so then there's another layer of like, wow, Allah loves me because He let me be Muslim. And this I'm going to tie to one of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, one of my favorite names is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, Al-Mu'izz. Al-Mu'izz is the name of Allah that means He is the one who honors people. He's the one who uplifts people. He's the one that brings worth and matter to an individual. And the opposite, there's another opposite name of Allah, Al-Mudhil, which is the opposite, where Allah can lower the rank of a person or diminish a person or remove worth from a person, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Mu'izz. That's one of His characteristics, is that He gives honor to people. Now, given what we know about Allah, is Allah going to give honor to someone who doesn't deserve to be honored? No. Allah is going to search through the souls in a way that only He knows, in a depth of knowledge that only He has. And He's going to figure out which souls here on this earth are worthy to be honored. Which souls here have some genuine sincerity in them? Which souls here have some strive in them? Which soul here has something good there? And it's those souls that Allah picks to give guidance to. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in a lot of places in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَيُذِلُّ مَن يَشَاءُ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides whom He wills and misguides whom He wills. And that's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like playing darts وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثُلُ الْأَعْلَى in the sky saying, this one's Muslim, this one's not, this one's guided, this one's not. No, it is a search. It is a soul search that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does. What that means is everyone here in the room who is Muslim, alhamdulillah, that Allah saw something in my soul that was worthy. So He honored me with Islam. Had my soul been a wretched soul, had my soul not had sincerity in it, had my soul not been clean, would Allah honor me? No. So the second layer of self-worth here is, okay, Allah thought that I mattered enough that He brought me into existence. And then Allah thought that not only do I matter, but there's some honor to me already, I'm valuable already. And then He saw, yeah, there's something there, there's something there. So then He adds Islam to that thing. He adds Islam to you, hence He elevates you with Islam. So you matter because you exist, but you matter more now, and you're more worthy now because Islam is a part of your story. And that is a gift that Allah gives. And just as Allah gives that gift, He can take that gift. And there are stories from our tradition of people who were on the path of Islam for their entire lifetime, up until moments before their death, and Allah removes that privilege from them. And the right word here is privilege, right? That Allah, we should be thinking to ourselves daily, Ya Allah, how do I make sure that I continue to stay in the people that You deem worthy to keep the deen with me, to keep the guidance with me, to not remove that guidance from me, right? By the way, all of this, I'm only on point number 1. All of this is just Islam. All of this is just me helping us to recognize deeply who is Allah in this picture and what's my relationship to Him. Am I just a random creature that He added to the mix of millions? No, none of us are. All of us were like so perfectly designed, so intentionally created, that there's something so special and unique about our existence and the fact that Allah made us Muslim. So then the second step is Islam. So once we understand this belief in Allah, we have a connection with Allah, well now it's, what am I going to do with that belief? Islam is all about the actions that come out of my belief in Allah and my ability to submit to Him. Now that I know Him, this is very important. Now that I know Him and I know how much He spent time with me and how much He loves and connects with me. Well, when we love somebody, we would be willing to do anything for the one that we love. Talk to somebody who's engaged, they'll tell you. They'll tell you what they're willing to do for their fiance, right? They'll tell you what they are willing to do for the one they love. Well, when Allah becomes that person whom I love, when I feel that love from Allah, when I feel connected to Allah, well now salah doesn't seem so hard. It's like, well, I'm talking to the one I love. It's like literally imagine, okay, this happens all the time. You're engaged, your dad only lets you talk to him for 30 minutes. Every week you get 30 minutes on the phone, that's it. Okay, well you're going to be preparing all your stuff for, in those 30 minutes you're going to be so focused, you're going to be so happy, all the distractions are gone. You only get those 30 minutes with the one you love. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's 5 times a day of that. But that's the sentiment. It's I'm responding to the call of the one who I love, who I know loves me. You see, when you think about all the things that Allah told us to do in that framework, well, it doesn't seem so hard. Hijab isn't that hard anymore. It's the one I love. I'm doing it for the one I love, right? And subhanAllah, there's this really nice, I stole this from Sheikh Mecca Center, okay? I saw it on Instagram, and I thought it was beautiful. He talks about La ilaha illallah, like one of the most basic principles of Islam that we think about all the time, that we hear all the time. There is no God but Allah, basic and simple, right? So then he goes, actually, La ilaha illallah is an equation. He goes, there is no blank except blank. And he says, insert any name of Allah. For example, Al-Wadud. Al-Wadud is the name of Allah. That means He's the one that is most loving, who gives love. And he goes, it's an equation. There is no one who can give you love the same way Al-Wadud can give you love. Insert another name of Allah, Al-Razzaq. There is no one that can provide you with rizq the same way Ar-Razzaq can provide you with rizq. Answer As-Sami'. There is no one that can hear you as good as As-Sami' can hear you. Answer Al-Alim. There is no one who knows you as well as Al-Alim knows you, right? So when you think about Allah in this way, like He's the one who gives me all the things that no one in this world can give me. He can fill holes that only Allah can fill. There are holes in us, nothing from this dunya will ever fulfill. Only Allah can fill those, right? So when we have this basic belief in Allah, Islam, iman, then we act upon that with our actions, Islam, and then level 3 is ihsan. Ihsan is like the race, right? Ihsan is excellence. It's taking all the things that you know and then doing them to your best ability. And this is where your love for Allah is truly questioned. You know, if you love Allah 100%, the way that you show up in your salah is going to look different than somebody who loves Allah 50 or knows Allah only 50, right?
How do we build an identity rooted in Allah when everything else is demanding that we change?
Yes, I love that story that you mentioned, mashallah. It's such a nice story. Inshallah fi mizan hasanatu. How do we build an identity when everything around us doesn't match our identity, right? So some of the things that we've talked about are kind of the background. Like I mentioned, that's some of the preparation that you need to do to get out there on the battlefield, right? These are some of the prep work that you need to be able to deeply understand and connect with, such that when moments you face, and we're all going to face moments where your faith is really put to question. And I'll tell you an example of someone that I used to know, still know her, she's a great girl. But she used to be a hijabi, and she actually ventured out into the journalism world. And she kept applying as a hijabi to different, companies, whatever is the case. And eventually she decided to take off the hijab because she felt that the hijab stood between her and success. She felt that the hijab stood between her and a job. And I've had many similar experiences and stories where people, and sorry, I'm not pointing out the girls just because all I talk to are girls. So a lot of hijab stories. But I've heard many, many stories of such examples where you're put to the test one day. And sometimes you answer right, and sometimes you unfortunately don't. And I think what will ensure that you answer right in that moment is two things. Number one is the background work. There's this concept, it's actually a psychological concept, and it's the backing behind why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribes dhikr. The concept of dhikr, Allah didn't just say alhamdulillah once and you're good to go. There's 33 times after every salah, and then there's the morning, and then there's the evening, and then there's this concept of repetition. This concept of repetition from a psychology perspective is that your brain will accept something as fact if you tell it enough times. If I tell my brain enough times, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful, even if I don't really believe it, your brain is going to start making executive decisions based on that principle. Okay? And I know I'm going on a tangent, but the idea here is that the more you feed your brain these concepts that we're talking about, where we're bringing the vision of the Day of Judgment to our forefront of where is my direction here? Where am I going here? Is it really about here, the dunya? Or is there something greater that I'm working towards, right? You bring that idea into your mind and you keep filling your brain with the concept that it doesn't end here, it doesn't end here, it doesn't end here. This isn't the ending, this isn't the final place, right? And you bring to your mind other concepts, for example, this concept of Allah being Ar-Razzaq, that your job offers, your wealth, that's all in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And think about it, if you're trying to gain more of something, let's say your dad is your dad got lots of money. Let's say you really want your dad to buy you a new car or a new phone. What are you going to do? You're going to you're going to go say all the nice words, Baba, how are you doing today? Make him a cup of coffee, sugar coated up, do all the good things towards him, such that he can give you the thing that you want at the end of the day, right? وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Allah does not need anything from us. But isn't it just good behavior on our part that if we're seeking something from Allah, that we behave towards Him? That we respond to the calls that He makes towards us, that we follow the things He wants us to do? Because make it make sense to me that if you're hoping for more wealth, which is in the hands of Allah, that disobeying Him is somehow going to bring you more of that, right? If anything, disobeying Allah will not bring barakah into the things that you do. Maybe, and here's the twisted part. Sometimes as a test from Allah, you do get that thing. You took off your hijab and you do get the job. What's the lesson there? What's the trick there? The trick is like, what was at the center of you when you accepted this thing? Well, now that you've got the job, what's that job going to do to your faith? What's that money going to do to your character, right? And so sometimes that's why you got to be really careful, because we're here in a battlefield. You can't be blindsided. You can't let these ideas and these thoughts and these influencers, oh my God, they're literally trying to tell us what to wear and how to cook and what to feed my kid and which vitamins are good and which car I should and which vacuum I should use to clean my house. Like, they're trying to control everything. Every part of our life is trying to be controlled by this outside noise. But again, it's about, number one, understanding my prep work, and then number two, not being deceived by the noise. When the shaitan comes to you, or your own nafs comes to you, and says something along the lines of, no, it's okay, disobey Allah here in this small way. You can repent later. Or no, it's okay, it's just a job, or it's just one conversation, or it's just one look. Right? The shaitan will come and try to minimize bad things in your eyes such that you dismiss them. But if you have your head on straight and your prep work is there, and you filled your brain with the right thoughts, then in that moment of weakness, your brain will pull back on the thoughts that you spent years implanting. But if you don't spend the time to do the prep, you don't spend the time to connect with Allah in moments where you have the things you want. When you connect with Allah in moments of ease, He will be there with you in moments of hardship. He will remind you of the things that maybe you're slipping from, right? And He'll give you strength over that shaitan of yours and that nafs of yours that might be trying to guide you astray. And I think in summary here, just remember what we're really here for. I know it's hard to remember that when we all have to wake up early for work, and you know it's like hustle, and you're moving from point A to point B, and you're studying hard, you have an exam, and you have a family, and it's all so fast-paced that it's so hard to just slow down. But force yourself to have moments to slow down. That's why salah is prescribed 5 times a day at intermittent parts of the day. It could have just been, oh, pray them all at once right now or at the end of the day. No, the idea is Allah knows that this dunya sucks us into it. He knows that there's going to be that pull. So He gives us a prescription of, okay, take a step back, slow down. Remember why you're here. Okay, now go back into it, and then you're going to forget again. Take a step back and slow down, and remember why you're here. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that insight and that foresight to be able to, when sort of like, you know, when something, that little waswasa comes to us, that little whisper, that little thing that points us away or distracts us from Him, that Allah gives us the wisdom and ability to be able to overcome that.